Hello and a very warm welcome to the news on Sansad TV. I'm Bhawna, Nayar, rounding up all the stories in the next 30 minutes. Our top focus today is Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's statement on Indo-China border clash in Tawang and other important updates from the fifth working day of the winter session of Parliament. There'll be much more. First, let's begin with the headlines this Tuesday evening. Indian soldiers repulsed Chinese attempt to unilaterally change status quo by transgressing line of actual control in Tawang. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh tells Parliament, says issue raised at diplomatic level as well. Rajya Sabha takes up Constitution SC/ST Orders Second Amendment Bill 2022 for consideration and passing. Lok Sabha discusses supplementary demands for grants. President, Vice President and Prime Minister lead nation in paying tributes to martyrs of the 2001 terrorist attack on Parliament. Both houses observe silence as a mark of to the heroes. Prime Minister Modi addresses 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Maharishi Aurobindo Ghosh, commemorative coin and postage stamp released on the occasion. And first semi-finals match of FIFA Football World Cup today. Argentina to face Croatia. Morocco to take on defending champion France in the second semi-final tomorrow. And now some more important news at a glance. Unique Identification Authority of India tops grievance redressal index in November for the fourth month in a row. Centre providing financial assistance to buy drones under the submission on agricultural mechanization informs Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar. Replying on the safety of Kashmiri Pandits in the valley, MOS Home Nityanand Rai tells Parliament that government has policy of zero tolerance against terrorism. In a written reply in Rajya Sabha, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says significant portion of drugs like heroin, cocaine and hashish being smuggled into the country through sea route. Air Quality Forecasting Agency SAFA reports the least smoke intrusion from stubble burning during October-November in 4 years. G20 Finance and Central Bank Deputies meeting and first Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting held in Bengaluru. Data should be easily accessible to citizens around the world for less developed and developing countries to grow technologically, says India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant. Sam Bankman-Fried, founder of collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, arrested in Bahamas, says country's Attorney General. Belgian investigators probe alleged bribes from FIFA World Cup host Qatar. Search offices at the European Parliament in Brussels. And New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern apologizes for insulting political rival. Offensive comment gets picked up by microphones following a question by leader of the opposition ACT Party, David Seymour. Starting with the Parliament updates, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh made a statement in both houses on the recent India-China face-off in Tawang. He said that the Indian Army bravely thwarted an attempt by the Chinese PLA from unilaterally changing the status quo in the Yangtze area of Arunachal Pradesh Tawang sector on 9th December. The Defence Minister said that there are no fatalities or serious injuries to Indian troops in the scuffle. However, it led to injuries to a few personnel on both sides. Singh said the Chinese personnel went back to their locations due to the timely intervention of Indian commanders. He asserted that the armed forces are committed to protect the territorial integrity of our country. He stated that the local commander of the Indian Army in the area held a flag meeting with his counterparts on 11th December to discuss the issue. The issue has also been taken up with the Chinese side through diplomatic channels.
सदन को अवगत कराना चाहता हूं कि हमारे किसी भी सैनिक की न तो मृत्यु हुई है और न ही कोई गंभीर रूप से घायल हुआ है। इंडियन मिलिट्री कमांडर्स के टाइमली इंटरवेंशन के कारण पीएलए सोल्जर्स अपनी लोकेशंस पर वापस चले गए अध्यक्ष महोदय। और इस घटना के पश्चात एरिया के लोकल कमांडर ने 11 दिसंबर 2022 को अपने चाइनीज काउंटर पार्ट के साथ स्थापित व्यवस्था के तहत एक फ्लैग मीटिंग की और इस घटना पर चर्चा की। चीनी पक्ष को इस तरह के एक्शंस के लिए मना किया गया और सीमा पर शांति बनाए रखने के लिए कहा गया। इस मुद्दे को चीनी पक्ष के साथ कूटनीतिक स्तर पर भी उठाया गया है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं इस सदन को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि हमारी सेनाएं हमारी भौमिक अखंडता को सुरक्षित रखने के लिए पूरी तरह से प्रतिबद्ध हैं।
Union Home Minister Amit Shah said that no one can take even an inch of land till the Modi government is in power. He said this while addressing the media outside Parliament as the opposition demanded a discussion on clashes between Indian and Chinese forces along the LAC in Arunachal Pradesh. Shah also said that the Congress had raised the border issue in Parliament to avoid questions on the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. He alleged that the foundation had got rupees 1.35 crore from the Chinese embassy, after which its registration was cancelled as it was not according to FCRA rules. Applauding the Indian troops for their valor, he said that they defended the Indian territory and drove back all infiltrators in no time.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार है, नरेंद्र मोदी इसके प्रधानमंत्री है और जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मोदी सरकार चल रही है, 1 इंच जमीन पर भी कोई कब्जा नहीं कर सकता। कल अपने सेना के जवानों ने जो 8 की देर रात को और 9 की सुबह को जो वीरता दिखाई है, मैं इसकी भूरी भूरी प्रशंसा करता हूं। इन्होंने घुसे हुए सभी लोगों को कुछ ही घंटों में वापस खदेड़ दिया और हमारी भूमि का रक्षण किया है।
Cutting across party lines, Rajya Sabha members on Tuesday largely supported a bill for recognizing the Gond community hailing from 4 districts of Uttar Pradesh as a scheduled tribe after excluding them from the scheduled caste list. The 4 districts are Chandauli, Kushinagar, Sant Kabir Nagar and Sant Ravidas Nagar. Some opposition members also demanded a similar review of more communities for inclusion in the scheduled tribes list and caste-based census in the country during the debate on the Constitution, Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Orders 2nd Amendment Bill 2022. The bill was moved by Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda. Lok Sabha has already passed the bill. Initiating the discussion, Pramod Tiwari of Congress wanted to know why the inclusion of the community in the ST list is only limited to 4 districts and not to the entire state. Take a listen.
तो हम तो कमिटेड हैं, हम तो इसके साथ खड़े हैं, पर मेरे दिमाग में एक बात नहीं आती। मैं इसका सीधा जवाब मंत्री जी से चाहूँगा, वाइस चेयरमैन साहब आपके माध्यम से, कि सरकार ने तो आपसे कहा था कि आप गोंड, इनके साथ धुरिया, नायक, ओझा, पथारी, राजगौड़ समुदायों को भी अनुसूचित जनजाति में शामिल करें। ये सिर्फ गोंड को क्यों किया आपने? उनको क्यों छोड़ दिया आपने? मेरा एक जिज्ञासा है।
एक कमार जाति, कमार और करमाली आदिवासी में है, कमार पिछड़ी जाति में है और वहाँ भी संथाल परगना एक परमंडल है, 5 परमंडल मेरे झारखंड में है, उसमें संथाल परगना परमंडल है। उस परमंडल के लिए सरकार ने, वहाँ की सरकार ने आदिवासी सूची में जारी कर दिया। हम माननीय मंत्री से मिले थे और सबसे भाई क्या है, पूरे राज्य में एक शेड्यूल बनना चाहिए, एक सूची बनना चाहिए, एक परमंडल में कैसे सूची जारी कर दी गई है।
स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के आंदोलन में भगवान बिरसा मुंडा जी ने जिस प्रकार से गांव-गांव में गांव को सशक्त करने के साथ आत्मनिर्भर, आत्मस्वावलंबन करने का काम कर रहे थे और उसी दिशा पर हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी आज जो है आत्मनिर्भर, आत्मस्वावलंबन और हमारे गांव के लोगों को आगे बढ़ाने का कार्य कर रहे हैं।
Members in both houses today remembered the martyrs of the parliament attack 21 years ago. Lok Sabha paid tributes to the fallen Jawans who laid down their lives on the 13th of December 2001 during the attack on Parliament. As soon as proceedings began, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla remembered the martyrs. He said that everyone should remember the valour of the alert security personnel who foiled the attack on the symbol of democracy. Members stood in silence as a mark of respect to the martyrs.
ये सभा शहीदों को श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करते हुए तथा उनके परिवारों के साथ मजबूती के साथ खड़ी है। इस अवसर पर हम आतंकवाद का सामना करने के अपने संकल्प को दोहराते हैं तथा अपने राष्ट्र की एकता, अखंडता और संप्रभुता की रक्षा के लिए अपनी शपथ को पुनः दोहराते हैं।
Rajya Sabha also remembered the valour and bravery of the martyrs of the 2001 Parliament attack. Member paid tributes and stood in silence as a mark of respect to those who lost their lives in the attack. Moving on to our next big story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid rich tributes to the freedom fighter and philosopher Sri Aurobindo on his 150th birth anniversary. Virtually addressing Aurobindo's anniversary celebrations in Puducherry, Prime Minister said his life symbolized the Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat concept. He said every citizen should take inspiration from Sri Aurobindo and make the dreams of a developed India a reality. Prime Minister Modi also released a commemorative coin and postal stamp in honour of Sri Aurobindo.
भारत के इतिहास में ऐसे अनेक महापुरुष हुए हैं जिन्होंने आजादी का भाव भी सशक्त किया है और आत्मा को भी पुनर्जीवन दिया। इनमें से 3 श्री अरबिंदो, स्वामी विवेकानंद और महात्मा गांधी ऐसे महापुरुष हैं जिनके जीवन की सबसे महत्वपूर्ण घटनाएं एक ही समय में घटी।
The first meeting of finance and central bank deputies under India's G20 presidency got underway in Bengaluru today. The agenda for the meeting includes global economy, international financial architecture, infrastructure and sustainable finance. The 3-day gathering marks the start of discussions on the finance track agenda under India's G20 presidency. It is being hosted jointly by the Ministry of Finance and the Reserve Bank of India. The first finance ministers and central bank governors meeting will be held between 23rd to 25th February 2023 in Bengaluru. India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant said that government data should not be provided as aggregates, but it should be broken down. Addressing the first G20 Development Working Group meeting in Mumbai, Kant said data is crucial to help any country meet her developmental goals and India has benefited from the same. He added that data should be accessible to the citizens around the world.
We were able to provide them new crafts, which were the fiberglass crafts. We were able to give them fishing nets, new fishing nets, which were then known as the disco nets in Kerala. And we were able to give them outboard motors so that they could go much further into the sea.
And time now for a quick look at some more news from across the nation. Players eligible for the PLI scheme for specialty steel will soon sign agreements with the Steel Ministry to take their investment proposals forward. The selected players have already been sent letters of approvals post-selection in the scheme, a senior Steel Ministry official said. The potential investment of Rs 42,500 crore is expected to generate 70,000 job opportunities and add 26 million tons of specialty steel capacity in the country. The G7 countries, a group of developed nations, US, the UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan, that gets together every year to discuss global challenges on Monday, came out in support of India's presidency of G20 countries and reiterated its commitments towards an equitable world. In a joint statement, the G7 countries said they endorse a sustainable future for all. India has about 27% of its area under conservation and can comfortably reach the target of protecting 30% of land and water by 2030. According to J. Justin Mohan, the Secretary of the National Biodiversity Authority, negotiating for the country at the COP15 Biodiversity Conference at Montreal in Canada. In response to a question in the Rajya Sabha, the government said that between April and November in the current financial year, the total production of urea in the country was 187.21 lakh tons, while 46.14 lakh tons of urea was imported to meet the domestic demand. Ticket rates have been announced for the Men's Hockey World Cup to be held in India next year. Tickets are available at ₹500, ₹400, ₹200 and ₹100. Each ticket allows the spectator to watch the entire day's proceedings at the respective venues. Hockey India said in a statement, the World Cup will be played in Bhubaneswar and Rourkela from January 13th to 29th. And time now for a short break here. Lots more coming up on the other side. You stay tuned to Sansad TV for more news.
Glorious journey of India's 75 years of independence, protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people, laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years, laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV.
भारत संपूर्ण विश्व में नेतृत्व की भूमिका निभाएगा।
G20 is going to be a very important occasion.
This is also beneficial to the state.
How the act is related to the constitution amendment.
क्षमता और कार्य के हिसाब से लोगों को मौका मिलता है।
आपको हम अपनी ओर से पूरा सहयोग देंगे।
इस स्कीम में कितना पैसा देने का योजना बनाया है ये बताइए।
अगर एनुअल देखा जाए तो 37,845.
I think being bold enough to accept that the standing committee has made an improvement on the original bill.
The only show of its kind that tries to demystify diplomacy and make complex international issues understandable to everyone. I am Vikas Swaroop. In every week, I bring you a new dispatch from the front lines of foreign affairs. We talk to the best experts who enlarge our understanding of foreign affairs and show us why the world matters to India and why India matters to the world. So keep watching Diplomatic Dispatch only on Sansad Television.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news and time now to see all the updates from the Ukraine-Russia conference. French President Emmanuel Macron on Tuesday hosted an international conference to help Ukraine make it through winter. Dozens of countries and international organizations were throwing their weight behind the fresh push to keep the Ukraine powered, fed and moving in the face of sustained Russian aerial bombardments that have plunged millions into the cold and dark. The European Union reached a deal in principle to send an €18 billion financial aid package to Ukraine and approve a minimum tax on major corporations in a big move that narrowed a rift between bloc member Hungary. The 27 envoys of the EU nations reached a tentative agreement late Monday in a deal that also sees Budapest getting a bigger part of promised funds. Earlier on Monday, Hungary said a sanctions package against Russia being debated by the European Union would not contain measures affecting the import of Russian energy into the bloc. Hungary said the EU's ninth package of sanctions against Moscow would not place restrictions on Russian oil, natural gas or nuclear energy that would negatively affect its economy and energy security. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov rejected Ukrainian President Zelensky's call to start a pullback from Ukraine this month, saying there can't be any talk about it. He said the Ukrainian side must understand the existing realities. Without taking those realities into account, any movement forward is impossible, Peskov added. Earlier, Zelensky addressed participants of G7 summit and asked Russia to start withdrawal of its troops on Christmas. He suggested that Russia at least try to prove that it is capable of renouncing aggression. It would be right to begin the withdrawal of Russian troops from the internationally recognized territory of Ukraine on this Christmas, Zelensky said. Zelensky also gave an update on the situation in Ukraine to the G7 summit leaders. He outlined to leaders at the summit the work that needs to be undertaken over the course of the next year. He also urged residents to remain alert to renewed Russian strikes. Thousands of Ukrainian refugees are trying to start a new life in southern Russia after fleeing those areas where fighting continues. Krasnodar regional officials said around 14,000 Ukrainians are staying in their region, including in the resort town of Anapa, the main entry point into Russia during the recent mass evacuation from Kherson. And let's now take a look at some more news from across the globe. European Parliament strongly condemned a corruption scandal that is shaking the EU legislative body. Belgian prosecutors are investigating possible influence peddling at the European Parliament involving corruption and money laundering. Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili of Greece was relieved of her duties. A Gulf country reported to be Qatar was suspected of offering cash or gifts to Parliament officials in exchange for political favours. Hong Kong announced loosening of COVID-19 curbs in the global financial hub starting Wednesday. International passengers will no longer face COVID-19 movement controls or be barred from certain venues. Hong Kong also scrapped a mandatory COVID-19 mobile application. From Wednesday, travellers and all residents will be allowed into all locals provided they test negative for COVID-19 on arrival. Much of Britain came to a halt on Tuesday as a result of widespread travel disruption caused by a combination of cold weather and strikes on the railways. Union members on Monday rejected a pay deal from railway companies. Nurses are also planning to take industrial action twice this month in a dispute over pay. Railway workers are staging the first of 4 48-hour walkouts set to take place in December and January. South African lawmakers voted on Tuesday on whether to start impeachment proceedings against President Cyril Ramaphosa over a report that says he held undeclared foreign currency at his farm in 2020. The crucial vote comes after a damning parliamentary report alleged that Ramaphosa illegally hid at least $580,000 in cash in a sofa at his Falafala Game ranch. Israel's parliament on Tuesday elected a new speaker closely allied to the country's likely next prime minister. Benjamin Netanyahu is setting the stage for a flurry of contentious new legislation to appease the former leader's expected coalition partners. Lawmaker Yariv Levin's election as speaker comes as Netanyahu continues negotiations to forge a coalition government after elections were held last month. And now some interesting developments in the world of sports. The two-match test series between Bangladesh and India begins in Chattogram tomorrow. India to be led by KL Rahul in absence of injured Rohit Sharma. High on confidence after an inspirational super over win, Indian women look to maintain momentum with against Australia in the third women's T20 to be played in Mumbai on Wednesday. The ICC rates as below average the pitch used for the first test between England and Pakistan at the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium for not offering any help to the bowlers. India and Spain qualify for the semi-finals of the FIH Hockey Women's Nation Cup 2022. India pull out a close 2-1 win over Japan, while Spain register a comfortable 3-0 win over Korea. And the first semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup 2022 to be played later tonight. Two times champion Argentina to take on 2018 runner-up Croatia. And with that, it's a wrap of today's bulletin. Keep watching Sansad TV for more news and updates. Thank you for watching. Good night. Namaskar.